The United Nations Association Commission for Women and Children Affairs in Ghana has officially launched a shelter project to provide housing for vulnerable women and children in the country. The project will also empower the beneficiaries to contribute to the socio-economic well-being of their families and communities. Speaking at the launch event, the communication officer of the commission, Elaine Kwamin, explained that the organization is determined to provide shelter for marginalized persons, especially women and children on the streets of Ghana.
The project, which is expected to be completed within a 24-month period, will also be equipped with a 250-person capacity cafeteria unit, 12-unit class block, talent development center, 500-person capacity accommodation, 10 block unit staff residence, and a 100-seater library unit sprawling on 100 acres of land. We are not just seeking to give our beneficiaries shelter. It is our vision to empower them so they, in turn, can support the socio-economic well-being of their families and the country in general. Today, we call on you to help us rid our streets of homelessness and of deprived women and children who are always at the mercy of the weather, living and surviving on the streets. Through your kind donation, we believe this gesture will go a long way to save and preserve lives and dignity of children and women with housing needs. It is our anticipation that our modest intervention will serve as an awakening for governments and other well-meaning organizations to support people living under these inhumane conditions. Thank you.
The ceremony also saw the swearing-in of 15 Goodwill ambassadors to champion the cause of better living standards among women and children. Goodwill Ambassador Reverend Daniel Esiedu, in his acceptance speech on behalf of all the ambassadors, emphasized that all of his colleagues were up to the task despite the challenges ahead. He further opined that the call to serve humanity and to advocate for respect, equality, and dignifying lives for the vulnerable in society is both humbling and noble.
Still more, women and children have become more vulnerable. Domestic violence cases and increasing maternal mortality rate in Ghana speaks volumes to the need for rigorous support for women and children. Need I say any further about the havoc COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war have wreaked? Need I say more about the seeming lack of sustainable policies and political will to support the vulnerable in the Ghanaian society? Need I say more about the growing digital divide and rising reported cases of abuses against women and children? From all indication, Ghana's social support and welfare schemes for women and children leaves much to be desired. As we try to wrap our heads around perennial flooding, especially during rainy seasons, we cannot equally lose sight of the pathetic scenes of many children and women sleeping on pavements because they have no option. More than ever, our streets are inundated with street beggars and children trying to eke out a living out of necessity. Distinguished guests of honor, ladies and gentlemen, we accept the call to serve as patrons, fully aware that the times when well-meaning Ghanaians play the ostrich, pretending to be unaware of the vulnerabilities that stared them in their faces are over. We accept to serve as patrons, fully aware that the name calling and rhetoric that have not preferred any meaningful solutions to alleviating the plight of the vulnerable should be eschewed. We accept to work as patrons, fully aware of the major strides and shared commitment of the United Nations Association for Women and Children Affairs Ghana in helping to tackle some of these vulnerabilities. Beyond the fact that the call to serve as patrons and ambassadors has done us a great honor, we are equally elated at the enormous responsibilities that same presents. We look forward to drawing on our expertise, experiences, collective and shared synergies to effectively discharge the responsibilities that come with this honor.
As we engage in critical conversation about women and children over the next few days, we discuss our roles and responsibilities to make substantive changes within our respective spaces. I encourage you to ride the wave of energy that has come from talking about inequalities in its most overt and pervasive forms. Let us work together to take off the blinders which showed all the forms of gender inequalities from seeing the public light. This need not amount to mere naming and shaming, but the building of allied networks, as we have gathered here, the emergence of collaborative spaces for learning and sharing, and articulation of effort to make society a more just, harmonious, and equitable one, where all have the opportunity to participate and to live in peace and freedom. For a new day truly be on the horizon, as was famously said a few weeks past, this is our time to change what is normal and work together to redefine what is possible.
Ohima Mercy and Kwame Eugene were some notable personalities appointed as Goodwill ambassadors of the organization. They are expected to use their popularity, strength, and goodwill to raise resources and funds for activities of the United Nations Association Commission for Women and Children Affairs, Ghana.